It has about 10 poems, I think, as forms part of it. So I would like to start off with a poem written by Kensley Shalmine that really speaks to me and expresses in so many ways how I think we feel about the Kwéyòl language. It's called We Kwéyòl. We Kwéyòl. Yo twete kon kwasha de jol sal. Yo pilonè kon wavet ki pani vale. Yo servi ou kon jamet asou la wi labowi. We Kwéyòl. Ou kwe yo ni pou fè ou kon sa? Kon maman poule ou kouve yo an esclavage, ou protéger yo. Kon vie kalson, yo mette ou lanve. Yo vle tchou ou kon kochante. Yo vle tewe ou tout vivant. Twete ou kon tout doucement. Yo pa sav ou ni l'histoire. Yo pa sa jete ou an ba. Si yo pale ou mal, la yo pale ugly. Ou kay bayo as mauvais souffle. Mode lang yo kon fomi modan. Wousi yo kon gel cochon. Si yo connaît valeur au Kwéyòl, yo kay respecte ou kon nage en ciel. Yo kay porte ou kon zano fait en l'eau. Kon vent foué, yo kay apprécie ou. The first time I heard this poem done, I sort of sat down and I thought, oh wow, somebody actually put into words the way I feel about this. The poem speaks the Kwéyòl language being seen as something that should be thrown away, as something that is not good, as something that should be treated and just sent out the window and thrown in the garbage. And he refers and he says, Yo tweto ko kwasha ada jol sal. In other words, they treated you like spittle coming out of a dirty mouth. That's the first line in the poem. And he goes on to say the value of the Kwéyòl language and refers to it as being the language that our ancestors used when we were enslaved. And that was the language that they used to communicate with each other. So that was actually the language that brought freedom to us. And today, we still use the Kwéyòl language as part of our identity. Maybe not in St. Lucia a lot, but certainly when we travel out of St. Lucia, we refer to Kwéyòl. We use it, those of us who can speak it and those of us who can't speak it. We use it, and when you hear Kwéyòl spoken outside of St. Lucia, you turn your head because you know that's a fellow St. Lucian speaking there. Or if that person is not from St. Lucia, that person is from Dominica, that person is from Haiti. But it gives you a certain sense of belonging when you hear the language used outside. Don't talk for if you hear what has become called our national word. Wherever you hear that word, you're looking because you know for sure that's one of yours. You know for sure that's a St. Lucian. And that is one of the things that I hope Ti Pawòl Kwéyòl will bring to the fore. That our Kwéyòl language is a language that can be used on all levels. In academia, in spoken word, in poetry, being written. It is a language of its own, and we need to learn to appreciate this language that is ours. Ti Pawòl Kwéyòl this afternoon focuses on St. Lucia. And we are looking at St. Lucia as in my St. Lucian heritage. Héritage St. Lucien moi. In other words, what does my St. Lucian heritage say? What does it mean to me to be St. Lucian? How do I see my being a St. Lucian? How do I see that and how do I express that? And expressing it in the language that is indigenous to us here in St. Lucia. And so, I would like to present to you two of our poets this afternoon who are going to speak to that very theme right now. And I will start off by calling Mr. John Tench, who is doing a piece called Héritage moi, my heritage. Mr. Tench.
Sorry.
should.
Okay.
He wants to walk around, so you're going to have a challenge. No, he wants to walk around. He wants to walk around.
Okay. Um, Good afternoon. I'm going to walk around since the speakers are not working, so I'm not going to stay one place. So the title of my poem this afternoon is Héritage nous. Héritage c'est ici moi. Héritage c'est ici moi. Ma sav pour, mais moi sav la pani pièce papier qui n'est écrit à souille d'avoir qui c'est ici, c'est ça moi. Ou vle a Ti Pawòl Kwéyòl, eh ben mi a Ti Pawòl Kwéyòl. Gade a sou te soa, lani a chaudière. Gade a de chaudière, lani a manger qui ka bouille. Goûtez, goûtez, celle-là, piment, domboya. Yo ka vini a somme et yo ka maye langou. Force ini bogu. Patate la qui a deuil, bouillon, celle-là, c'est un monde qui porte. Patate là, un monde qui porte bao. C'est un monde qui plante. Piment, c'est un monde qui plante aussi. Viande là, c'est un boucher qui débitue. Figue là, c'est eux même qui porte. Ouvrez héritage, là, regardez ces monde là qui croient cette ici, c'est ça yo. Yo ja pour livre l'histoire cette ici et qui ont déchiré et qui ont goûté noyo à souille. Pas garder yo. Las garder yo. Goûter un bouillon qui chaud, un bouillon qui ni bogu. Gardez encore. Tout pas bouillon, celle-là, figue là, viande là. Il sorti à cette ici. Il sorti à de terre. Terre même, il jaboué ça, maman moi, ça maman ou, papa nous, frère nous, c'est nous. Las gade pour héritage moi, las gade pour héritage ou, commencer gade pour héritage nous. Merci. Oh. Oh, yes. Yes, please. How are you?
I'm not even going to try to translate this one, right? But if you were listening, the bouillon, nous tous connaissons ça bouillon hier. Bon Dieu, bon goût, bon manger. When you speak about a bouillon, you know you're talking about good food. Food that is tasty and you can actually sit down and savor the taste of it. And so that is what that poem, that's what I'm thinking of as I'm listening to this. That you can savor the taste of St. Lucia anytime you think of it. I mean, just look at where we are right now. Look where we are. Look out. So much beauty to see in just this little spot. And I am sure for a lot of you, you walk past this spot every time. You walk straight past it and you've never thought of actually stopping in here. And now that you're sitting in here, it's like, ooh, what's a little piece of tranquility that I've just stumbled upon. And so you can taste and feel St. Lucia in everything that you do. Now, I always do things a little backward, eh? And not backward, I am very deliberate in some of the things that I do. So some of you are sitting there and you're wondering, there are two ladies that I'm looking directly at right now. And I'm going to introduce them to you right now because I'm sure that you noticed that they're wearing pin badges and you must be wondering why. I want to say thank you to both Delia Dolor and Mrs. Cecilia Lacobinier, who are members of the Nobel Laureate Committee and who support, I'm trying to find another word for support for these two ladies. And I don't think that I can say thank you enough to both of you. Because every time I need something and I reach out, Miss Lacobinier, sometimes I think I disturb your sleep and you're not sleeping because I send an email and I get a response immediately and I'm thinking, ooh, because when I'm sending out, I'm a late person. So sometimes late in the night is when I'm functioning the best. And I send out an email and I'm thinking, oh Lord, I'm going to be disturbing her. So I'll wait for the response tomorrow morning. And I get the response the very same night. And I just want to tell you thank you so much for that. Really, really thank you. I know I'm not the only person that you treat like that because look how well we have functioned this year. And Dile, what can I say? What can I say? Just thank you. So yeah, the Nobel Laureate Committee works very hard to offer support to all of us who come up with these wonderful events. And if you have not been to any of the events for the festival this year, you have really, really missed out on a lot of activities. The community activities that were added this year from Grosselet, from Babonneau, have really stepped up the work of what is being done. And certainly this afternoon is one of those. So, Jameson Edward, I know you see him sitting over there all dressed up. I cannot wait to hear this piece called Héritage. Please help me welcome Mr. Jameson Edwards.
Will they be able to hear me if I say that project?
Yes, yes. I can't do it. Richie? That's just for the camera. So project.
Okay. A commission by Pepla. Ma maille cette ici. Tout le monde. Sauvez-moi souple. Ou j'ai quitté moi plusieurs fois. Pour qui raison qu'a fait ça? Feste qu'il ti, pas qu'à recevoir de l'argent qu'on feste carnaval. Avec la Marguerite qui a mort à l'école là, et à deux communes là. Toutes ces bagailles ça là qui a affecté moi mauvais. Na sorti à quoi dit, Wassine fondation moi qui a mort. Il est mort parce que jour à jour, ou qu'a perdre identité. Il est mort parce que ou j'ai perdu chimo, ou espère bay on a l'autre. Et puis voilà. Pour qui ça ou qu'a fait moi ça? Dis-moi. Moi vini victime négligence sous l'année après l'année. Yo fois joli. Mais après ça, ou qu'a blessé moi et puis toute vieille bagaille là ou qu'a fait. Ou pas qu'à jouer musique traditionnelle là sur radio. Ou pas qu'à apprécier héritage nous. Qui dernière fois ou visiter place Richesse folklore? Qui dernière fois ou marcher à l'état créole? Catchez ça. Et puis catchez ça bien. Parce que tout ça qu'a fait moi malade. Ça zot qu'a fait moi, it trop pour moi. Toi qu'a moi qu'a pesé à sous moi mauvais. Tiens moi qu'a cassé un chat. Tiens moi loup. Bon yo moi qu'a fait moi mal un chat. Ou qui ça ou qu'a fait moi ça? Dis-moi. Quand c'est ou pas qu'abattu, comment court moi pour parler ba ou 1000 fois pour autant. Écoutez-moi et puis écoutez-moi bien. Moi qu'a parler pour l'espoir et puis l'ilion à cette ici. Kouai nation et puis l'esprit nation a dit dans tout. Ou pas savent ça? Après ça vous savez. Tous les souhaits n'attendent pep moi qu'a plein et puis plein oui. Tiens moi qu'a cassé un chat. Maman moi qu'a sorti à quoi dit la pani l'espoir encore. À quoi dit un monde jeté yo dit dans tout noir. À quoi dit bagay pas qu'a venir pli mais à quoi dit bagay qu'a venir mauvais. Maman moi gourmet pour protéger manière nous qu'il tient nous et puis l'esprit nation nous. Du bout tout ces abyssements là qui a détruit et puis toujours du bout pour ça qui bon. Écoutez-moi et puis écoutez-moi bien maman moi. Moi c'est la terre, peuple là, lumière et les noirs. Un pays qui fait par bijoux et puis le même bon Dieu. Après ça, ou pas ni pour faire moi tomber et puis croiser genoux moi. Après ça, ou pas ni pour faire moi tomber et puis quitter moi souffrir. Levez-moi et puis l'orgueil.
la côte bord et puis l'amitié. Oh, c'est doit pour moi, oh, pour tout peuple. C'est les bois qu'il témoin et puis toute maman moi. Levez cette ici, levez cette ici, levez. Moi, qu'a plaidé exhorte pour chez oui pays ni sens nous et puis vivre manière nous te qu'à vivre avant. Moi, qu'a des autres pour avoir c'est tout ça qui a fait nous cette lycée. Ni gros, ni petit parce que nous toutes ni responsabilité ça. Nous adorons somme. Yo nation, yo commune, yo peuple, yo famille. Continuer bâti pour tout ce qui a venu. Ou pas qu'à regretter. Changer. L'amitié pour qu'il t'ait pas si posé ni condition. Laisse ça là, nation a qu'à progrès. Et puis nous qu'à vivre à la paix. Merci.
Même savent ça pour dire. Yes, we, amen. There is so much to unpack in that poem that I'm not sure where to start, how to break it down, what to speak about it. So maybe somebody else, when they come up, they might be able to do justice to it, because I don't know that I could do justice to that, Jameson, at all. The message, though, is that as a country, we need to come together. If we don't work together, si nous pas qu'à travailler ensemble pour faire cette lycée belle, cette lycée pas qu'à belle, c'est nous tous qui ni pour faire, nous ni pour chebe la main, y'en a lot. Ooh, I almost said that thing wrong. Nous ni pour chebe la main, y'en a lot. We need to hold each other's hands. We need to be each other's support. We need to make the effort. The country, St. Lucia, the beauty that is here is this. But if as a people, we do not work together to make our country a better place, then for sure we are just going to be left with just the beauty, the natural beauty. But we need to be doing that. Yeah, I think I got it right for the people who are understanding everything. Yeah. I got it right? Yeah. Oh, dear, merci. Yes, it really was. I think a little later on I'm going to ask Jamie, both Jamie and John, what inspired them to speak to the topics that they chose, and what was their inspiration behind it. Certainly for Jameson, because I think it was just such a soulful piece that spoke to so many things. But before we do that, I want to invite one of my favorite Kwéyòl poets, and I call him a Kwéyòl poet, not because he only writes Kwéyòl, he writes in English as well. But he is so very, very, very versed in the Kwéyòl poetry that every time I hear him, I'm just sitting there going, because literally my mouth drops at some of the words, like Jason, at some of the words that he chooses to use to express. It is some expressions in Kwéyòl that most of the time we don't hear. I call him fondly Daddy, but he is Mr. George Goddard. Please help me welcome Mr. Goddard. Huh?
Bon après-midi tous. Bon après-midi tout le monde. Moi, j'ai lu 3 petites pièces de poésie après-midi. Je vais traduire. Moi, j'ai lu en créole. Bon, première, c'est café le bon matin. En anglais, nous peut dire morning coffee. C'est celle ça moi qui traduit. Café le bon matin. Café le bon matin. Café le bon matin, car menez-moi réfléchir à sous ton petitesse moi. Ou maman moi dit beloué constant même quand la prière. C'est qu'à filtrer café mouli c'était café utilisé lui-même. 5 heures du matin, il était qu'à lever moi. Les courses, nous pour masser mango la rose déjà fini. Mango druidou aussi. Quand saison yo déjà fini. Et la pas tenu pièce raison pour sauter, lever en couche moins. Passer pour téter, timiette, café mouli. Bon matin, c'est Nescafé qui en tasse moins. Ça c'était café le bon matin. Deuxième pièce là, c'est Mon. En anglais, nous avons dit Hills, Mon. Mon ka monte, ka descend. En bas belte, couronne soleil là. Mon ka monte, ka descend. Soleil ka séché la terre, compati ou ka séché l'âme moins. Mon ka monte, descend lentement. Ka essayer de comprendre vraiment. En l'amour qui boute tellement si vite. Montagne qui a tombé, descend, qui a sauté en l'air pour toucher les nuages, saison l'hivernage, qui a pleuré à grande l'âme pour l'amour. En l'amour qui a disparu à la fin comme un vapeur. Et toujours, chez moi voulais croire, chez moi voulais croire, chez moi voulais croire ou qu'il vivre, ou qu'il retourner. En affaire, mais mon ka volé, monté, ka plongé, descend avec vent la mer, et vent ka vanté, feuille sec, tombé hors de pied bois, s'immerger yo olion en plusieurs morceaux, chez moi. Ça, c'était mon. Et finalement, moi, Kaili, quittez-moi, découvrez-moi. Quittez-moi, découvrez-moi. Pauye ka fleuri, ka chargé plusieurs tiflets. Fout ces fleurs comme pas fait en les airs. Hirondelle ka chanté en chanson en les forêts. À force chanson tellement douce et dorée. Et en les forêts, au bord de la rivière, nous ka coûter. Nous ka boire toute ça, expérience naturelle de la terre. Alors, laissez-nous poser pour un petit moment. Quittez-nous tarder, timiette plus longtemps. Pas trop pressé pour lever, pour aller pour Foucan. Restez en écoute, lentement, lentement. Bon, moi, des petits fleurs qui poussé à soupaouiller. Bon, moi, des petits fruits bois-gouillés qui bougeonné dans les forêts, qui soulé moins, qui soulagé avec la paix. Bon, moi, la rivière, wavine claire, qui sous de l'eau, c'est les monts et montagnes qui pitché haut en l'air, et à sous-bordage la rivière, les ramiers qui posé boire de l'eau, les nuages et les hauteurs. Laissez de l'eau ça la toucher langue moi aussi. Bon, moi parler des mots paroles comme des bijoux clairants et puis. Et comme la parole qui a déroulé à sous langue, laissez-moi pousser cri, bordage de l'eau et à sous monde. Enfin, laissez-moi découvrir moi. Merci, merci.
Ah, yes, yes, that's why I was asking. So I was making sure that my head heard what it was. Diben, où savent ça diben voyez? Est-ce que vous savez ça diben voyez? You know what a dibenware is? A dibenware actually is something that they used to make coffee in. So it really was a percolator that was used to make coffee in. Not the electrical one that we know, but one that was really, I remember my grandmother having one of those. And the smell of the coffee would wake you up in the morning. And the smell of local coffee is still the most beautiful smell that there is. Because it smells of home. It smells of home. It tells you that you know there's a richness to it. When you, and you wake up. I know what it's like. I don't drink coffee, yeah? Yes, when you grind the beans. I don't drink coffee, but the smell. And that depends where. I haven't heard that word in a while. It's really, really nice to hear that word. Thank you so much, Daddy. So I am now going to call on Mrs. Lacobinier. And I am so chuffed that Mrs. Lacobinier has a piece that she's going to present. So I can't wait to hear what she came up with. No pressure, but I can't wait to hear what she came up with. Put your hands together, please, and help me welcome Mrs. Lacobinier. This I can't wait to hear. Exactly, exactly. Let me just say this. So you need to be very kind to her because she does, like me, Creole is not her first language and it is not the language that she is used to communicating in. And I am sure you will understand that when you hear her speak. So the fact that she's actually doing a piece in Creole is just, I'm so chuffed I don't, yeah. So let's go, I can't wait to hear this. I need to record this for posterity.
Bon après-midi tout le monde. Moi c'est Cécilia Lacobinier. Moi fait l'Angleterre. Moi venu ici en 1995. Pièce moi c'est héritage cette ici moi. Et pas un poème, mais c'est un mot moi qu'a senti à sous cette ici. Héritage cette ici moi. Qui ça moi qu'a crié héritage cette ici moi? Langue grand-parent moi et parent moi, d'où qu'on siwo. Prends-moi langue moi entendre jour moi fait dans un pays étranger pour parent moi. D'où qu'on siwo. Gardez-t-il mais c'est si il est pour porter lunettes, qui ça qu'a fait? Tine a plat. C'est l'histoire des temps passés. La jablesse qui a dansé parmi moun à clair de lune. Compère lapin, compère macaque et tous ces autres animaux dans la forêt là. Musique à bagage là et l'orchestre chac, violon, bandoline, douce corsivo. C'est d'Asséa, Moulala, la comète et un pilote. Moi pas ça d'Asséo, mais moi aime mégadé, d'où consigo. Pas parler à ce coutume héritage nous, wob douillet là, jip là, d'où consigo. Et manger héritage nous. Bois pain et banane vert et l'amoui, mi bon manger, d'où consigo. Moi fait et profiter dans un pays qui pas payé par moi. Mais merci bon Dieu, yo baptisé moi dans héritage cette ici. Merci beaucoup.
I'm embarrassed. Let me tell you something else because I want to hear the applause. Mr. Lacobinier sat right here and wrote that piece earlier on this afternoon. Hot off the press. She actually sat when she came this afternoon. She said, "What's the theme again?" And I said, "Héritage Saint Luciano." And she said, "Okay, I'm going to do something." And she sat right there and wrote that. And I'm embarrassed because, and you say you cannot speak the thing you're speaking better than me. I embarrassed her, so you know, you will never ever say again that you can't speak Creole. Never, ever, ever say that. Yes, we will play the tape as evidence. Ou sa parle Creole, madame, ou sa parle Creole. Pas jamais dit personne, ou pas sa parle Creole. Pas jamais dit ça, yo pas kay kwa ou pièce. Ek moi still la ka model langue moi pour dire ti mot Creole. Moi ka still mode lang me pou di Ti Pawòl Kwéyòl e ou just vini la ou just di bagay la kon sa. So pa jamais di pièce moun ou pas sa parler Kwéyòl. Yo ka do sa pa vwe. I know you speak it like I used to with the accent, but that's all right. The important thing is that you have the language unpacked. So I'm going to invite another poet right now to do some pieces for her, and I will tell you in advance that she is not a Kwéyòl poet, so her pieces will not be in Kwéyòl. But Miss Alice Beda is one of our prolific young writers in St. Lucia, and she has books and she has anthologies out as well. And so I would like to invite my friend Alice to come and deliver some pieces to us. Like I said, these ones are not in Kwéyòl. Don't throw stones at her because it is not her fault. Okay, is that mine? But thank you so much, Alice.
Thank you. Bonjour tout le monde. Moi ça parle ti Kwéyòl, mais moi pas j'ai for écrit Kwéyòl là. Matin venu ici pour faire ça seulement, so I just can try. The first piece I'm going to share with you today, it's called Shabin Choise. So you could all relate, it's very St. Lucian. We all know one or two people that we refer to as Shabin. Some of us may not really like the term, but it is what we say in St. Lucia. Once you have a certain complexion, they call you Shabin. So this one is taken from my first poetry book, which is called Merona. Merona, c'était Guamama mwen, et c'est pour ça que je livre là ça. The insults hurled every time she spoke. Each word, too many rough syllables coming out of her mouth. Country bookie must be from down south. Backward girl, no pearls, no flair, no mask of makeup to wear. Just sunburnt hair and skin the color of ripe bananas and chichima. Her hips, perfectly formed, nothing on her deformed. When she walks, earth and heaven clap. All men drop their well-accented wives, loins aflame, salivating on her innocence that they so desperately want to experience. Young men overcome with sheer insanity look at her grace and beauty, forget their jabals and stand perplexed. They all see her and just one thought: sex. Oh, this Shabin girl must be from Choiseul, because Choiseul Shabin's hot, Choiseul Shabin's sweet, Choiseul Shabins make all men distraught. Her accent no longer a burden to city girls' ears. Her pronunciation no longer a topic of ridicule only done by fools. Rather, all women watching despair. For once Choiseul Shabin's pass, all men want a piece of her perfectly round. For Choiseul Shabin's heart like a salver pone on a Sunday morning. Choiseul Shabin's lips containers of seawater meal stored at heaven's door. All fantasize about her richness to savor. Because Choiseul Shabins make men forget their name, their age, their maker. Jeune fille, qui manye ou ka veye belle comme ça? Jeune fille, qui moun qui ba ou porte l'os là qui devant? Jeune fille, est-ce ou c'est je choisi? So many questions, needing not one single answer, for the Choiseul Shabin sweetness is engraved in alabaster. The Choiseul Shabin struts in her raw beauty of herself. Couldn't care less if city girls reinvent themselves to look like a mess of someone else. Choiseul Shabin bears no shame when she is called names, Bookie, Jamet. Not one name could bring her distress. Choiseul Shabin proud to say, I am from the land of straw, clay, and sweet potatoes. For that sweetness down there is what Choiseul Shabin girls are made of. Choiseul Shabin sweet. Choiseul Shabin kabatkan pusik. Okay. Okay, I'll just do two more pieces. This one is called, I'll do this one first. This one must end. St. Lucia now we have so much going on, so much negativity, so much crime, so much violence. And some people are tarnishing the name and the reputation of our beautiful island. So I wrote this one particularly for that. This war must end. The blood has been too many times shed. We can't leave anymore because we are too scared. The kids no longer free to play on the playground. One straight shot and they're on the ground. When did this war start? You got a gun and it happened just like that. You join a gang and hang around the block. In your back pocket is a 9mm Glock. You feel so powerful and invincible. You don't back down, you look for trouble. Minor arguments turn into blood and murder. You don't debate. Your preferred choice is to assassinate. For nothing, everything is bloody hate. Life exchange for death on the spot. For a few dollars, her death is bought. When did this war start? The neighborhood reeks of blood and death. Too many young people are taking their last breath. The nation in pain in turn holds its breath. We can't leave, nor can we take one more death. When did this war start? To survive, we feel that we must hide. But your bullets destroy us from inside. Our mothers at gravesites crying, your rifles are the cause of this ceaseless mourning. Yesterday, you shot one who was once a friend. Today, the stranger, by you, met his end. When did this war start? You and your guns need to retreat. Clean up the blood stains in our streets. Pack up the gangs, throw away those guns. In case you missed it, this isn't fun. One man down is one too many. We don't have to make each other an enemy. We are losing this war to mountain violence. The priest, tired of fasting and burning incense. The choir faints from singing Amazing Grace. The grave diggers can't find any more digging space. The police keep staring at the growing database. We have become petrified of every man's face. The beauty of our peace will forever be lost. We have spent too much. We can no longer bear discourse. This war must end. Okay, and the last one is called Pieces of the Peace. They strip me to pieces, but I am told to keep the peace, live in peace, even when everything in me is in pieces. State, church, home, all divided, falling to pieces. Children indoctrinated, compelled, chastised to keep the peace. What peace? Is it the pieces of the peace that we must hold piece by piece while desperately trying to attach piece by piece by piece? Powerful nations at war. They have beautifully created the illusion that we must fight just to keep the peace. Millions killed, innocently ravaged, so one community will not fall to pieces. But what peace do we seek? Is it a piece of the pie? A piece of what oil money can buy? The church? Piece by piece, spread thinly with thousands of contradictory pieces of the truth. Yet, my peace I give unto you, not as the world gives, give I unto you. But hopelessly, we wait for the peace that has learned how to evade. A piece of time lost waiting to find the pieces of the peace that no one seems to give. I am told without peace there is no individual freedom or nation. So if we can't find the pieces of our peace, then of what value is our prized independence? The family. shattered into tiny pieces. Pieces of hate, mistrust, dishonesty. No one at peace can't find their inner peace. Where is the parents' peace? Where is the children's peace of mind? Is it only deserving when you think that we should rest in peace? But do we not have the remedy to glue the pieces of the piece? When friends quarrel, we dissipate their misunderstanding to soften mutual feeling. And like a puzzle, we need to bring together the pieces of the piece. So you, mother, father, sister, brother, friend, let's believe in the old Nordic saga, which tells of a time when human beings were good. Inspired by the spirit of wisdom, the world lived a life of happiness and peace. The hope of finding the pieces of the piece is not lost. So bring your peace, fuse it with my peace, our peace, and let peace begin. Peace out.
Did I not say you were going to enjoy Alice's pieces? And the piece of the piece and the pieces, again, going back to Jameson's piece that he did, speaking about how we all need to work together and make it happen. And the patchwork's still there, and the patchwork is what creates our St. Lucianness. Là nous mettons tout miette là ensemble. I ka fait yon. Did I get that right? You all need to help me here. When we put everything together, when we put all the pieces together, we come up with the one that works. Daddy, that's what I said? Let me tell y'all, I learning the Kwéyòl, I learning to write it and I learning to speak it. And one of these days, I will be standing here. My inspiration, I got inspiration this afternoon. I will be standing here and saying everything in the Kwéyòl language that I love so much. But until then, I shall continue to bite my tongue unashamedly, and I shall continue to try to speak it because I love the Kwéyòl language. I absolutely love it. So, nous avons fini. Don, you're going to come and say something, right? But I forgot. Okay, Don wants me to make an announcement that I have forgotten already. So I would like to invite my friend, my lifelong friend, Miss Dawn French, to come and make the announcement that I forgot to say, okay? I'm sorry.
Bon après-midi tout le monde. So what I told her to say, and the old age kicked in, was that on the 22nd of February, which is Independence, UNESCO usually launches its Creole poetry competition, which ends on the 22nd of March, which is International Mother Tongue Day. So, seeing as we are at a Creole poetry setting and we're streaming and there are folks there who may want to take part, I thought it was a good opportunity to just spotlight. People can keep a lookout for the announcement and take part. That you could not remember. That's all right.
Moi pas ka même apologize. Moi j'avais moi ka oublié de le, OK? Ek moi ka mode langue moi ka parler Kwéyòl like ça bon toujours parce moi ka apprendre parler Kwéyòl. There we go. So yes, Dawn, thank you so much for that. And on that note, let me tell you that last year as well, one of the things that we did here with Kai Kwéyòl, we started off a Kwéyòl lecture, a fully Kwéyòl lecture, a lecture delivered in Kwéyòl, a focus on academia and all of that nature. So it is a lecture in as much as you would go to the Derek Walcott lecture. It is an annual Kwéyòl lecture. Last year it was delivered by Dr. Travis Weeks. It was, I can't even begin to explain what this lecture was like. He spoke on Kwéyòl theater and how the arts and theatre has influenced our living in St. Lucia, and what, in fact, he called it Gwadi Shamla, Nubuzwe, no, Gwadi something, Nubuzwe Plisham. In other words, what he was saying, we need to widen the room, widen the house, because we need more rooms. And he was speaking to the relevance and significance of theatre and the arts and its impact on us in St. Lucia. It was a wow. And this year, Dawn, on the 22nd of March, our second annual Kwéyòl lecture lecture is going to be delivered by none other than the gentleman sitting to your left, Mr. Nkrumah Lucien. I'm so happy that he joined us this afternoon. Nkrumah this year is going to deliver our second annual Kwéyòl lecture. So I am inviting all of you to tune in. It is going to be on the 22nd. It's going to be at the Alias Francaise from 6 in the evening, and much like this event this afternoon, is going to be live streamed. So if you are not here, if you are not at the Alias Francaise with us, you would be able to still log on and enjoy the lecture on the 22nd of March. I did say that I was going to ask Jameson to come and tell us what his inspiration was for the piece that he did, because I am still in awe of that whole. I'm still trying to find a word to describe it. I think it was a prayer, it was a psalm, it was a wonderful piece, I think, that spoke to so much of who we are as St. Lucia. And Mr. Tench, don't think you're escaping, you know. I'm just calling Jameson first to tell us what his inspiration was, and you coming right next to tell us what your inspiration was. Mr. Edward, step over to our little chambers.
Bon après-midi tout. The I'm talking English now. The inspiration behind this piece came from actually a piece I wrote since 2019, 20, I believe. I'm an educator by profession. I teach theatre arts, and being in the primary and secondary schools, I recognize that when in terms of our cultural and intangible cultural heritage, it's not being taught that heavily. Like, for instance, I wholeheartedly believe that Creole should be part of our school's curriculum, and that the students should be learning how to write Creole and how to speak Creole. I also believe that we don't just wait till it's Unique Kwéyòl to teach students about what Creole is to us, but it's something that should be done all year round. And in addition to that, when I was going to school in RC Boys, La Marguerite was a big thing. The RC Boys used to gather, we used to parade, go around the square, and it's like La Marguerite now, it's like, it's nothing. And very few communities celebrate it. I am from Castries East, where I live at Rockall, and in doing research, I recognized that Castries East, there was lots of cultural groups there, and now I'm not seeing any cultural groups there. So all of this, it kind of just had me feeling like, if I were the mother of this earth, if I was Helen, and I'm seeing all what used to happen before, it's not happening then, how would that make me feel? And it did stir up a few emotions. I did get emotional sometimes because I felt like, am I the only one that feel like this? And I guess I put pen to paper and I produced such a beautiful piece, and you were proud to enjoy it and receive it. So this was the inspiration behind A Commission by Pepla, the title of the poem. Not A Commission by Pepla. Yes. Thank you.
Well done. Well done, James. Well done. Mr. Ten, I'm short, so I can't see past. Have a look around.
Good afternoon. So when I write, I always try to find the poetry in the most mundane things, in the everyday things, in the familiar things. And so talking about the heritage and the culture of St. Lucia, I found that it was important to go back to basics, essentially. And so it's never really about my heritage or your heritage. It's our heritage. It's our St. Lucia. And so I chose a bouillon because it's just part of St. Lucian culture. And so I chose that to be the metaphor for my poem. So that was it. Yeah.
Thank you. You see, they say that our heritage and our language is being lost on our young people because they are not interested and they don't want to learn. And it's one of the ways that I think some of the people over there try to not do the things that they ought to do. Moi tellement côté l'année conversation qu'a aller actuellement côté ministry education éducation qu'a parlé de yo kay mouchwe c'est ti maman nous parler créole et puis écrire créole à l'école. Moi savent actuellement Sir Arthur Lewis. There is a program at Sir Arthur Lewis for that. I cannot say that in Creole. Mais actuellement yo ha ka commencer. Yo pas commencer à ti l'école mais il a conversation là et là nous ka parler di bagay comme ça moi quoi il kay fait very soon. How do you say very soon? Tout de suite, il kay fait tout de suite. So nous ka still parler, nous ka discuter parce qu'il est important pour nous moucher c'est ti maman nous. Et ces jeunes moun en cette lycée importance héritage nous, importance langage nous. Et pour nous comprendre que créole pas un bagay pour jeter. Créole c'est un langage qui peut parler à plus de monde à la terre. Et pas qu'à juste parler à cette lycée, nous pas qu'à juste écrire créole à cette lycée. Moi apprendre écrire créole l'Angleterre, la moitié l'Angleterre. C'est là moi commencer à apprendre écrire créole. So là, la tenue importance était important enough pour moucher ti mamay Angleterre pour écrire créole et puis garder nous à cette lycée. C'est ça nous, c'est un langage nous toujours là pour servir pour l'autre bagaille et nous pas qu'à moucher c'est ti mamay nous. Importance langage là pour yo même parler et pour yo écrire. So the fact that it is now a discussion and that there is active discussion about it and it is actually on the cards right now for it to be introduced in our schools, I am super excited. And I am even more excited when on occasions like this I see our younger people coming in and taking part in it. It tells me that our language is by no means dying, that our culture is not dying at all, contrary to what people are saying, and that there is hope for us as we continue to grow as a nation. We are about to get into the celebration of our 44th year of independence. I am heartened when I am able to embrace younger people and see them coming in and speaking the language and getting involved and writing the language and learning the language. So, like I said, if any of you want to add anything to what I have just said, please let me know. Otherwise, we will be wrapping up our little afternoon right here in Heroes Park and wrapping up our little event at Ti Pawòl Kwéyòl. Merci tout le monde. Merci pour venir ici. Thanks for taking part. Thanks for your presence. And I look forward to doing this again very soon. Merci to the Nobel Laureate Committee, Mrs. Lacobinier and Delia. Thank you so much for being here.